Here we go again. Now we're just at the stage of chucking anything out there to just try and cause trouble, harm, and distress. So, as we know, and as I'm about to prove to you, men are oppressed. That's a fact. But let's have a look what someone has done today. So this is now twice now. Recently, people have decided to try and put stuff out about me that's false, but have also managed to cause harm to people that they shouldn't have done. So recently, these people made a profile of one, Gina's baby, faking to be Gina to get at me. That's number one. Number two, they made a profile of my ex-wife who is severely ill, and also my ex-mother-in-law who has just recently died. And now today they've put a picture up of what could be my property. Might be, it might not be. I might have moved since then. That could be an old property. Or maybe just next door. Or maybe the other side. But that's nice of them. But what they haven't just done, and should I say realised, is actually that's a multi-person property. And there's actually someone who recently died in that property. And you've just basically put that out there for all their family and friends to see. Congratulations. This is how evil you are. You don't pay no attention to who else gets harmed. You're going for me, but you're harming everyone else but me because you've got nothing on me apart from half the truths that you are making up through 15 seconds rather than the whole footage, which is already out there. You're playing the blame game, so it's on a man. Oh, you're a man, you're at fault, because I can guarantee if the roles were reversed and it was a man doing me doing what you're doing in the other way round, or another man doing the other way round, you'd be the one getting all the shit and hate by man blaming a woman. But because it's a female doing it to man, that's where male oppression comes in, and the point is being proven so clearly, day on day on day on day, that it doesn't matter what you say. That's where the male oppression comes in. But anyway, I've enjoyed this video. This explains male oppression, and obviously, in a lesser extent, explains what's happening to me right now due to lies and misinformation that's being spread out there. Obviously, that's just because I'm a man, and it's going to be easier to put the blame on me than to turn around and point your finger at the person who is a female and lying.
What do you think is when men have that's
like
not equal?
unfairness towards men?
Yeah. Like I understand like the draft, for instance, but I was wondering what other.
You mentioned the draft, so yes, men are the exclusive subjects to military conscription. Women are entirely exempt. So men are far more likely to die in war. On that note, men throughout all of human existence have been 99.999% of military casualties. And I would argue that men, just in the context of warfare, just on this sole grievance, I would say that the suffering men have experienced when it comes to warfare outweighs all of women's collective grievances probably 1,000 times over. You might not like to hear that, but I'd encourage all of you to watch All Quiet on the Western Front. It's available streaming on Netflix. War is brutal in ways you cannot imagine. That film cannot even begin to capture the degree to which men have exclusively suffered throughout all of human history. And so, not to say that women haven't faced their own, specifically women, specifically female disadvantages, but war is on a totally other level. Somewhat related to war, men are more likely to have post-traumatic stress disorder. Men are more likely to be homeless. 80% of the homeless are men. Of the people who are homeless, men are more likely to be rough sleepers. So when women are homeless, they're much more likely to get into shelters. They're much more likely to be homeless, but in a car, for example. The people that you often see sleeping on the street when it's cold, generally speaking, the vast majority of those are men. Men are more, should I keep going?
Yeah.
I got more. Okay, men are more likely to commit suicide. 80% of suicides are men. Men are more likely to be alcoholics. Men are more likely to be drug addicted. Men are more likely to be incarcerated. Men are more likely to have harsher conditions when incarcerated. Men are more likely to be in solitary confinement. Men are more likely to receive the death penalty. Men are more likely to be prosecuted than women for the same crime. Men are more likely to receive harsher punishment than women for the same crime. Men are more likely to be the victim of a violent crime. Men are more likely to be murdered. Men are more likely to be the victim of police misconduct, police brutality, and police killing. Men are more likely to be falsely accused of a crime. Men are more likely to be victim to a miscarriage of justice. Men are more likely to be wrongfully convicted of a crime. Men are more likely to be wrongfully executed. Men are more likely to work a shitty job. Men are more likely to work a dangerous job. Men are more likely to get injured at work. Men are more likely to die at work, 93%. Men are less likely to do well in school. Men are less likely to graduate from high school. Men are less likely to go to college. Men are less likely to receive scholarships. Men are less likely to graduate from college. Men are more likely to drop out of high school. Men are more likely to drop out of college. Men are more likely to be divorced by their partner. Men are more likely to pay child support. Men are more likely to pay alimony. Men have fewer social safety nets. Men die earlier than women. It's about 5 years. I think it's more in some countries. Here's a big one. Men have their penises mutilated at birth in a vast majority of Western countries. It's not all countries, but a lot of Western countries, there's circumcision. And there's certainly female genital mutilation in some countries, but male circumcision is much more practiced than female circumcision. Men are the exclusive victims of paternity fraud. Men have no reproductive rights. Men have no abuse or domestic violence shelters. Gay men are more likely to be victim of a hate crime. Men are less likely to get custody of their children. Boys are more likely to die from child maltreatment. Boys are more likely to be victims of infanticide. Boys are less likely to be adopted. Men are more likely to die without having children. Men are more likely to die as virgins. Men are less likely to reproduce. Historically, reproductive success was 17-1 in women's favor. Men are more likely to be body shamed without any repercussions to the shamer. Men are more likely to be body shamed for traits out of their control. And men are discriminated against due to diversity quotas. That's a
Totally,
few.
and I understand that. I feel really bad to be a man in this world. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of pains you guys suffer through, but my point being is that women didn't create these, and men created these issues.
Some of these issues.
A lot of the issues. I think that a lot of this is based on the patriarchy.
Well, I reject that there's a patriarchy, but
You reject that there's a
I
patriarchy?
reject that there's a patriarchy, yes.
Wow,